Hello everyone and welcome back to this brand new video. Now for today we're going to be playing 4-color Reclamation. This deck is coming straight from the Red Bull Untapped tournament, so it's not my own list, but I really like it for the main reason that it has access to Teferi in the main board and for many sideboard cards that I will be discussing in a bit. Alright, so first of all, the deck is obviously a Reclamation deck, so you have to expect 4 growth spirals to ramp on early and get to your Reclamation earlier. So you have to expect Uro as well, just because it's a must include in any deck that can splash for it. And since it's 4-color Reclamation and we're splashing white, what are we splashing for? We're splashing for Teferi, because Teferi simply destroys the mirror match and it kind of makes sure that all of your key spells like Reclamation for example resolve safely. So it's a very good inclusion in this deck, and it's not as hard to splash in because it's only one white symbol. That's from the main board. From the sideboard it's a whole different story, but the mana base is tailored to tackle all of these problems, and I personally tested it and I never had mana issues. So beyond that, I like the inclusion of 3 Mystical Dispute because it hits any of the blue spells that you might be facing. Now if in ladder you're facing a lot of aggro decks, like for example mono red, mono black or mono green, you could consider cutting some disputes and playing maybe more Scorching Dragonfires or just simply more Aether Gusts, because the card is good against Steamer Reclamation and also good against Bant Ramp, as well as mono green aggro if you're facing that and if it's your problem. So that's it for the main board. Besides that, Shark Typhoon for example is a good card to have against Teferi. Since this is a 4-color deck, you obviously can't play Blast Zone, and that's the main reason we're not playing it. But what did I mean by the sideboard? The sideboard is super cool, mainly because of 3 cards that I really enjoy. So Justice Strike is insane. Why am I saying that it's insane? Because your main problem in the Reclamation deck is that you can't handle that 7/6 that mono black has. I think it's Raging Regisaur. It's a 7/6, and because it's a 7/6, you can't handle it very well with damage-based removal, especially in Teamer colors, because all of what we had is just Scorching Dragonfire, and that is not enough to deal 6 damage. So the addition of Justice Strike is super good. And the other main thing that we are playing that is super cool is Solar Blaze. And you might be thinking, why are you not playing Shatter the Sky? Playing Solar Blaze because it only has 1 white symbol is way easier to splash for, and it's also a kill everything threat. Now usually most of the creatures now in standard have the same power and toughness, so we're not running into that problem, so don't worry about that at all. And the last card that's super interesting with Reclamation is Kenrith. Trust me, Kenrith in this deck is insane. Just throwing multiple cards per turn, gaining a lot of life against aggro. Kenrith simply proved to be way too good with Reclamation. Of course, you still want more cards to tackle other matchups, like for example you need your 4th copy of Mystical Dispute. Fry is good because it can help you kill Teferi, and that's something very annoying, so you obviously need to stop Teferi as a Reclamation deck. Negate is obviously here because you want to stop non-creature spells. Yes, that's a very high IQ for me. Aether Gust is here against green-red matchups, or just simply if you want to stop Reclamation for like a cheaper mana cost, because 2 mana to stop their Uro or like to put it on top of their deck is effectively a time walk because you made them not do anything for their turn. Devout Decree is a very good card against mono black, especially against once again that 3-drop that is ruining our dreams. And Spectral Sailor is such a grindy card, especially against Bant Ramp and against Team Reclamation, because you force them to do something about it, and if they don't, you just keep on drawing card after card after card, and it's not going to take a long time before your Spectral Sailor plus your Reclamation combo takes over the game. So that's going to be pretty much it for the DeckTech, and with that I'll see you in the games. But before we actually get into our games, I would like to ask you to please subscribe because it helps the channel a lot, and if you want to promote the channel or like help the channel even more, you can check out my Patreon link in the description down below. And with that, I'll see you in the games. Going into our first game of 4-color Reclamation, this is not the perfect hand, especially because we have an Aether Gust up against a Yorion deck, so whether it's Esper Control or just simply Yorion Rats, we're gonna have a bad matchup. But besides that, I like having 2 mana negate, so I guess that's enough for me to keep, although that's a very weird reasoning, but I guess I'm gonna keep because if it's a control deck or if it's like Yorion Rats, it's not good for me to keep on mulliganing because it's simply gonna get me even lower in card resources. So it's fine. Alright, so it's Steamer Elementals, and Aether Gust is actually super good against them. So see, even when I keep kind of bad keeps, I'm actually keeping a good hand. So trust in me more. Alright, so the good thing for us is that he can't Risen Reef this turn, so that's very good for us. And he's probably gonna play Growth Spiral at the end step, I'm assuming, so let's wait and see what he has in mind. Negating an Aether Gust, a Growth Spiral is good, but Aether Gusting and Growth Spiral is sometimes a good spot, but I guess I'm just going to negate it. If he goes Risen Reef, it's annoying. If he doesn't, If he just plays maybe Uro, I think I'm pretty fine with that. So let's see what our opponent has in mind. It's obviously Risen Reef, isn't it? He's an 80 card deck, but they always have Risen Reef in their opening hand because, alright, so I think I was way too mean to my opponent. He just had a Cultivate, and that's fine with me. Although it's gonna put him way ahead on mana advantage, but I guess it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine because we have our Aether Gust. I could Growth Spiral now, and then Growth Spiral into an untapped source. Alright, I think we're just going to do that. So we're just going to Growth Spiral, and to not give him any idea, we're just going to put in our, it's either Plains or Fabled Passage, but I guess Plains is way less, way less revealing of what I have in hand. So I guess now we have our Aether Gust open, which is good for us if he goes Nissa, for example. Or what is like scary from their side? Cavalier, I guess. Alright, so Nissa is obviously going to be mounted with an Aether Gust. I don't want to see Nissa. Nissa, you can leave. No one likes you. Except probably all of the green players. Or I mean, who cares about what green players feel about a green card? Exactly, no one. So let's try to hit another Aether Gust. We sadly did not. What is the best play for us at this stage? I guess we just play our land, and then we play our Ketria Triumph tapped. Or I guess we just play our Fabled Passage, try to cycle our Triumph into something useful. I guess that's the plan. Really think that's the plan. Nissa will sadly resolve, and that's something that pains me a lot. But I guess if we top deck our Reclamation, we play our Reclamation, kill Nissa with Expansion Explosion. That's not a Reclamation, and we're not gonna kill Nissa with Expansion Explosion. At least that's what it seems. But let's see what we can do. We're gonna be taking 3, which is not the biggest of problems. We can escape our Uro. I mean, of course, Paradise Druid as well, even more ramp. I mean, at least he doesn't have a payoff as it seems because he's playing way too many things, and we actually full Reclamation off the top. Thank you, Reclamation Gods. See, when you please the Reclamation Gods, they just give back to you. Now, let's double check that I can go for the line that I mentioned. If we do this, we're gonna be floating 3 mana, and then we're gonna have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 meaning I can exactly kill Nissa if my math is correct. Let's try to go for the math again. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it's definitely enough to kill Nissa, and that is a huge. See, Magic is really about luck, but if you play to your outs and you think about your outs, you're actually not just lucky, you're actually smart because you thought about the way to go for it. So don't think that this is simply just luck. I was playing to draw that because I mentioned it, and then we just did. And that puts us somewhat back into this game because we literally just drew 6 cards. I guess 6 cards is very good in Magic. Can he still play Ugin? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If he has a land, he can. Alright, he doesn't play his Ugin. Now I have a dispute up. Makes me feel very good. Can he escape his Uro? He definitely cannot. So we're definitely back into this game. No matter what they try, Reclamation has the upper hand. No matter what they try and how hard they try. You can ramp as much as you want, opponent. We're escaping our Uro next turn, and Uro is gonna come to ruin every single dream you had. Alright, so let's just go with this. I could have bounced the forest with Brazen Borrower in case I'm afraid of maybe Ugin, but I think we're gonna be fine. I think we're definitely going to be fine. We're gonna play this tapped, I guess, and then we're gonna cycle this. And then I guess that should be enough for a turn. We can still play a land for a turn, so let's just play our Hallowed Tomten. Why am I cycling the lands? Because 1, they fill up the graveyard for Uro for the future, and 2, they just simply help us with like the future because we get to draw more cards. I guess I'm gonna let this Nissa resolve, just because we can kill it with our Shark Typhoon, and because if he wants to suicide one of his lands, I think I'm pretty fine with it. So like might as well let it resolve. Let's make him think that we don't have anything. Because like look, we can make Shark Typhoon token for 1, 2. We can make it for 6 and keep Dispute up to protect it in case he has like a bounce spell or like Brazen Borrower or something like that. So I'm pretty safe when it comes to that. So let's see what happens. Opponent is thinking very well. Alright, so what is he planning to do? Something that we will probably never find out, or like we're just going to find out. What's going on, opponent? What's going on? He actually attacks, which feels very weird. Since this is obviously Nissa, we're gonna attack. We're gonna try to stop the forest because the forest is obviously better with a Nissa. I mean, if you read literally right here, it says whenever you tap a forest for mana. So let's try to cut him on green sources as much as possible to cut off his Nissa advantage. He thinks that this is a good play just because it gives him the option to Uro, but we're gonna end his dreams with just Mystical Dispute, and then we're going to show. I'm very evil, I know. Alright, so with that, let's go into not game 2, like the next type game. Yes, I am a very evil person, I know, but I mean, I play control, so like, you must know that I mean. You must like have it in the back of your mind. So I guess negate is good. I'm not sure about dispute quite yet, but let's try to think things out now. I guess we can take off some reclamations and some expansion, just because usually people start to side in things to stop your cards, and that's why you kind of counter like whatever strategy they have in mind by siding them out, and that's why, because if he now has enchantment removal, it's just gonna sit in his hand. Now sure, wilt can be cycled, but I mean, if he has any other form of enchantment removal, it's just gonna sit in his hand, it's gonna do nothing. Besides that, what do I want to side in? Yes, Kenneth is good if the game goes on too long. Actually, I like dispute enough. What do I not think is insane in this matchup? I guess we don't need... Actually, let's keep the Sailor cut out when Teferi. Teferi is just simply not that good in this matchup. And I guess that's enough for me. Kenneth could be a very good blowout, especially if he goes like Nissa, reanimate something, and then I just slam in Kenneth, give my things haste, trample, attack, kill Nissa. That could be a very good blowout. Just when I say that I want to side out Reclamation, we draw 2 in our opening hand, which makes me feel kind of iffy. Do I want to keep this hand? I guess we don't think it's a good hand. Alright, Shark Typhoon, Reclamation, and Negate is very good, so I guess we can keep that. And we're gonna bottom our non-white swords just because we need at least 1 white swords for our like future, which is Teferi in case we draw him, or like Enrith. So we're just going to play our Triumph, and then we're going to path. Not path, because I wish Path to Exile was standard legal. We're going to pass. So let's just play our land and pass like nothing happens, and then we have an access to negate very later on in the game. So that's good for me. Alright, opponent probably is going to attack us for 2. I mean, it's fine. Alright, doesn't even attack us. I don't know what he's playing around. Maybe a bounce spell. Probably a bounce spell. Just wants the mana for next turn. Let's just play our land and then we can pass. I could have played an untapped land, but chalking it in would kind of reveal what I have in hand. And I'd rather him not know what I have. Especially that I don't want him to think that, oh, he has Shark Typhoon for 1 or something like that. Hopefully he draws his land and goes for his Nissa. Please go for your Nissa. Please go for your Nissa. For the love of everything, go for Nissa. Go for Nissa. Go for Nissa. Go for Nissa. Opponent, you know you want to play Nissa. You really know that deep down, this turn won't be a good one if you don't play Nissa. Alright, Uro is completely fine with me. I guess because we have 2 Shark Typhoons, is it a good idea to cycle 1? What could we hit off the top? I don't think there's something that good to hit off the top, so I guess we don't have to cycle our Shark Typhoon. And now we're just going to shot this in, and we're going to play our Wilderness Reclamation because it only has 1 mana up, and that's simply enough to end the game, although I had nothing to capitalize on. Alright, actually I did. I had Shark Typhoon, negate. So that's gonna be pretty much it for the video, guys. If you did enjoy these games, please do consider subscribing because it helps the channel a lot. Before signing off, I would like to thank my patrons because without them, this channel wouldn't be possible, and all of the content that I made wouldn't be possible. And a special shout out to I am Mark Mac, and with that, I'll see you guys next time.